Good evening and welcome to a special 30-minute edition of Here and Now. We begin with a look at how some people in St. John's marked Remembrance Day. Hundreds gathered at the National War Memorial in downtown St. John's for the annual wreath-laying ceremony. The CBC's Mark Quinn reports.
Hundreds of people were here for the ceremonies at the War Memorial in St. John's this year.
My goal in the group that I run is to make sure that every deed that every Newfoundlander and Labradorian has done in uniform, either in Newfoundland or abroad, is remembered.
This year was a little bit different. The parade that usually includes hundreds of people, including RCMP, RNC, and of course veterans, was cancelled this year because the forecast was calling for a lot of rain and wind. Fortunately, that rain and wind didn't come this year during the ceremonies. Now, this was only the second year since the return of the unknown soldier to Newfoundland and Labrador in July of 2024.
All those mothers and husbands and wives that had lost somebody, it was a place for them to go and say, I wonder if that is my relative. It was a symbol of where they could go to see a grave, because they were all buried overseas, or there's 1,300 unknown Newfoundlanders in the First and Second World War that have no known grave. So I think that's what this is.
Also on the minds of many people here today was a recent CBC News story. CBC recently confirmed that the remains of 4 Newfoundland soldiers were found in Europe.
So those 4 Newfoundlanders have been identified as Newfoundlanders because of what was on their uniform when they uncovered the bodies.
That story is still developing. The investigation is ongoing, and as that story develops, CBC will bring those details. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, a hands-on learning experience at the Rooms got a major update just in time for Remembrance Day. Educational kits, or edu-kits, focus on the Royal Newfoundland Regiment and recreate historical artifacts. Students from St. Peter's Junior High visited the Rooms to try out the new kits.
What do you got? Why don't you try it on? You want to take your hat off? No. Here you go. See how heavy it is. That's pretty heavy. What do you think that's for?
Protect your head.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Experiential learning is the ultimate way to learn, and you can just see their eyes light up when they dive into this material and they realize that these soldiers are just the same as they are. They're the exact same as they are, just in a different set of circumstances. Hi, I'm Darren Ivany, Education and Public Programming Officer here at the Rooms, and welcome to the Rooms. We've got a very special program going on today. We are doing the funding announcement for our BMO Educate Refresh, and we've got St. Peter's Junior High here who are helping us put all this together. So what are Edu-Kits? We've got these incredible reproductions, we've got archival documents, we put them all together in this traveling case, and we actually send these cases out to teachers and educators all throughout the province. Well, we've got 3 primary ones. Uprooted, that's about resettlement. Cultural expressions, so that's about the various cultures here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And we've also got our First World War Edu-Kit, our most popular Edu-Kit, and that's of course about the Royal Newfoundland Regiment.
What do you think is so heavy?
Because they need like shields?
Yeah, so it would protect people. Yeah, from all the shrapnel. Would you like to try it out? There you go. Give it a shot.
How different is it to be holding these things in your hand, things that a person like this held and used and was part of their life?
It makes a huge difference because you can really, instead of just looking at something, you could really feel it instead of just just looking at a picture. You can't really, know what they're feeling.
Great-granddaughter of Ryan in London.
Good job.
I feel like you can imagine it, because hearing about it, you feel it in your brain, but when you hold it, you can see how they used to live.
How are these kits being refreshed? They're being refreshed to reflect our contemporary times. So we're making sure that these are more culturally diverse and they're more appropriate for the social thinking that we have now. Our goal is to make sure that every single student in this province sees themselves reflected in these kits. And we're so grateful for BMO for providing the funding to do this refresh.
By learning the stories of Newfoundland and Labrador's past, students gain more than just historical knowledge. They gain perspective, empathy, and a deeper appreciation for the communities that came before them.
Yeah, so take a look through all this, okay?
I learned that it's important to remember people's stories and what they did.
Why is that important?
so we don't forget our past mistakes.
Yeah? There you go. I got one here. I got one over here.
As we pay tribute to those who serve our country today, we also remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Augustus Quinton served in World War I, and while he didn't make it home from Europe, some of his belongings did. The CBC's Mike Rossiter brings us this story of how those artifacts are helping Quinton's family stay connected to his past.
We know a lot about Private Augustus Quinton's life from paper, from the official record. But to really tell a soldier's story, you need to look at what's left behind. Quinton's belongings, things like coins, cigarettes, and chocolate, were sent home after he died. But there's one thing he's said to have owned, which has a bit of mystery to it.
Augustus Quinton, he was a 19-year-old fisherman from Redcliffe in Bonavista Bay. He enlisted to serve with the Royal Newfoundland Regiment during the First World War. There's nothing that really stands out about his record. He was just an ordinary soldier, found himself overseas during the First World War, and unfortunately he did not return.
Augustus Quinton was wounded in battle when the regiment was in Belgium. A piece of shrapnel from a shell struck him in his back. He was sent to hospital in London in September 1916. He received some treatment, but died in November. The library at Memorial University has a collection of artifacts related to the First World War, including items related to Quinton.
These were part of items that I think came to us from a collector. We have his medals. We have a memorial scroll that was sent to the family after his death. And we also have a wristwatch.
The story of the watch is a mystery. No one knows where it came from, nor where Quinton got it. And there are not a lot of clues. No brand name, but on 2 spots on the strap are the initials that appear to be AQ.
The watch is a very interesting piece. It's not what we would think of as a wristwatch today. It would have been a pocket watch that was converted so that you could actually wear it on your wrist. It appears to be a lady's pocket watch. Now, there's nothing particularly feminine about the watch. It's just a little bit more ornate. It's around the time where we're seeing more of a transition from the pocket watch, which was more commonly used, to something that you could actually wear on your wrist and not actually have to fumble for. We would certainly love to know more.
The other way to tell the story of a soldier is to not look at what's left behind, but who. Augustus Quinton came from a large family, one that continues to care about what he did.
I first heard about Augustus when I was a little boy. My aunt sort of raised me. My mother died when I was young, and my Aunt Jessie was there all the time afterwards. And she spoke of Augustus many times. I can vaguely remember the details, of course, because I was quite young. But she really missed him. She was greatly saddened when he died overseas. They were teenagers together in Bonavista Bay.
Dave and his granddaughter Jessie have both had encounters related to Augustus over the years. In high school, Jessie was selected for a trip to France and the United Kingdom. It was a reward for drawing a Remembrance Day picture. And by pure fluke, she stumbled upon Augustus's grave in London.
When I came on that gravesite, it was pretty emotional. I'm sure I shed a tear or two and kind of told everybody around me that this was a family member and that sort of thing. And it's hard to describe what that's like here, but when you're over there actually seeing these sites where they've had these battles and kind of seeing the actual grave sites themselves, it hits a lot harder.
Dave's encounter happened closer to home. Well, literally in his home, in his attic in 2016. He was throwing stuff out and he came upon something from a relative.
Went to a light, opened it up, and here was an envelope with a little bar of soap. And a note from Jessie written on the envelope from the personal effects of cousin Gus Quinton, who died overseas in the First World War. My Aunt Jessie had died 40, 50 years before. I don't know when she wrote the letter, probably before that even. And here was this little token that she wanted people to keep and preserve and honor. And it was very touching. But what happened then afterwards was even more startling to me. When I finally went downstairs, I checked the calendar. It was the same date that Gus was killed, or died, I should say, 100 years before, exactly to the very day. And here was this note that came almost magically from the past.
Dave and Jesse have connections to Augustus, but they didn't know anything about the wristwatch until we visited. They had never seen it until we showed them a picture.
Wow. It's unbelievably beautiful too. Holy. I think the watch is really interesting in that it's another really human piece, and I think part of the Remembrance Day importance is not just remembering how they died, but how they lived too.
Dave is writing a book about Cousin Gus, Aunt Jessie, and the Quinton family. Family is everything to Dave. He says just because somebody dies and disappears, you shouldn't forget them.
You inspire me, and I'm sure a lot of our other family members, to kind of carry the legacy of all our family members before. You do a fantastic job of making us interested in our history, and that is partly why our family feels so big, is that we can kind of trace it back through generations thanks to the work that you do.
I think it's extremely important to remember the sacrifices that were made by these soldiers. I think in itself is pretty remarkable. To forget about what they've done, I think is the biggest tragedy in this. It's a remarkable sacrifice that they've made for us. We need to remember that.
Augustus Quinton is more than just a name on a piece of paper or at a memorial. He's buried at Wandsworth Cemetery in London. Nearby school kids tend to his grave every year. Here at home, some of Dave Quinton's family participate in Remembrance Day ceremonies. Gus's life and story is one worth remembering. Mike Rossiter, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, in other news, the We Stand on Guard Once More benefit concert was held last night in St. John's. The sold-out show raised money for people in communities who suffered losses during the summer's wildfires. The CBC's Maddie Ryan has more.
It was a star-studded night at the Jag Sound House in St. John's last night, where over $1 million were raised for wildfire relief across Newfoundland and Labrador. An organizer of the We Stand on Guard Once More concert says $550,000 were raised last night, and the provincial government matched that to take us to over $1 million. Over 1,400 tickets were sold for this event, where Newfoundland and Labrador's finest musicians played for this important cause. Bands like Rum Ragged, the Ennis Sisters, and Shannigan Nook played to a sold-out crowd, and thousands more people watched from home on stations like CBC. The organizers of the benefit concert set out to raise as much money as possible so communities can rebuild from a devastating, unprecedented wildfire season. More than 3,500 households evacuated and registered with the Red Cross this summer. The show featured some of their stories, including those from communities in Conception Bay North, where more than 10,000 hectares of land burned. Hundreds of structures, including homes, community centers, and a school, were destroyed. The funds raised from this concert will go directly to the Red Cross NL Wildfire Response Fund. Maddie Ryan, CBC News, St. John's.
And we have an update on that total. The Red Cross says that they raised, as of 11:30 Newfoundland time last night, that donations topped more than $1.2 million. Now, half of that amount came from donations made by people and businesses, while the other half was matched by the provincial government. Now, as Maddie Ryan just mentioned, the money raised is in support of the Canadian Red Cross Newfoundland and Labrador Wildfire Response Fund.
It is time for the weather. Carl is out and about.
Yes, there are a lot of folks here in the Avalon Mall cinemas playing chess.
How do you do, sir?
All right, Jeremy's here with a look at the weather, and there is a lot of weather to talk about. My goodness.
A lot of wet weather.
A lot of wet weather.
But we're going to jump right into it because there is a lot to see. Let's take a quick look at my headlines. People got a kick out of this yesterday, so I'm just bringing it back to recycle it. Rain, 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 rain. See above line. Snow and rain in Labrador. Currently, we're sitting on, I think there were 16 to 17 warnings in place. As you can see them all laid out there. Snowfall warning here in Labrador West. The green, that's a rainfall warning. Wind warning, rainfall warning, and down here, wreck house wind warning. So there's still a lot of rain. People have been experiencing the rain all day today, and it's going to continue until midday tomorrow for much of the island. So let's just take a quick look at the system. You can see that green monster there. Well, that's all rain, and that's all going to hit the island. Now, the worst part is going to be down there, St. Albans, Burgeo, and Port aux Basques area as well, but we'll talk a little bit about that more in a bit. And you can see that system is going to continue on through the night, and you can still see Port aux Basques is still going to feel the worst of this system as it moves through. And then you can see it's sort of changing into a rain-snow mix into Wednesday as well. So it hasn't been a pleasant week. Hopefully it gets better, but we've seen worse, and we'll see worse again after that as well. So we're going to take a quick look now, just sort of going to break this down. There's still a lot of rain left to come. So let's just say you live around here. 10 to 20 millimeters. Further back here, also maybe, sorry, that's a lie, 15 to 25 down here. Back here, 10 to 20. Marystown, 40 to 50 millimeters possibly overnight. Central, again, 10 to 20. Corner Brook, I think you're about 10 to 20 as well. Port aux Basques, there is that sun icon there, but that's kind of deceiving because Port aux Basques and Burgeo are expected to see expected to see 40 to 50 millimeters overnight. According to Environment Canada, when it's all said and done, Port aux Basques there's a possibility, if they hit the maximum totals, that Port aux Basques would have seen 130 millimeters of rain in like a day and a half. Also, there was pictures going around the internet of a truck blown over there in the wreck house area, which is not good. So then when we move up into the Straits, as you can see, rain, rain, rain. Straits, you're going to be 10 to 20. St. Anthony, it's going to be maybe 15 to 20 as well. Cartwright as well. Rain, 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 rain. And Lab City, now there was a lot of snow in Labrador City overnight. We got a picture of that coming up for the weather photo of the day, so I'm sure that they're loving it. I heard from Jerry at Menahek Nordic that people were out on the cross-country trails today, and they were fantastic. Jerry, thanks for that info. Keep them coming. Now, the upside with this is that it's not going to go away right away, but tomorrow, when the rain stops, there'll still be a few showers across the province. There's no sun action coming out, but the upside is the heaviest amounts would have stopped. There is the possibility of sort of like rain flurries down here on the southwest coast and up into the west coast. Similar story in Labrador. It's going to get a little bit colder in Labrador West, but unseasonably warm for places like Makkovik and Cartwright, where they saw a little bit of snow, and now the snow has turned into rain, and so anything that will fall there will be a little bit damp. So this is the look ahead here as we, you can see sort of the systems moving on, but then as soon as one leaves, another one comes in. It's like the party that never ends. And this is what we're looking forward to on Thursday. The sun will come out. The sun will come out tomorrow. Now let's take a quick look at some long-range forecast numbers. Maybe Friday we'll see the sun here in the eastern part of the province, who's to say? And then as we look into, there's that snow-rain mix that you can expect in western Newfoundland, and rain, sort of a snow mix as well there in central. And as you move into Labrador, the temperatures get a lot colder, but the precipitation should sort of simmer down just a little bit, and it could shape up to be a nice weekend. Well, and if you like snow, I actually borrowed this off X, formerly known as Twitter. It's a fella in Labrador West, Keith Fitzpatrick. He said that this is the most snow he's seen in one snowfall in the last 2 years. So there's a ton of snow down. I just wanted to share that because I know people love getting out in the snow. Lab West, loving it. Keith Fitzpatrick, thanks so much. I borrowed that, so thanks for showing that to the internet, and people out there having a good time. And that's it for the weather forecast. Stay dry, my friends.
Well, a windy day in Corner Brook didn't stop hundreds of people from filling West Street for the annual Remembrance Day ceremony. The CBC's Alex Kennedy was there and spoke with residents about the importance of marking this day.
Oh, these are medals that I earned after 35 years of service in the military, so each one means a different thing. Lest we forget, I mean, is an important term. We can't forget what people sacrificed in the past, so I feel it's very important for people to come out today, both young and old people, you know, veterans, non-veterans, young people, students, everybody like that should come out and remember, because a lot of people made the ultimate sacrifice, and that's very important.
I think it's emotional. You get very emotional just watching all the people and listening to like stuff like the roll call, and it's emotional, but it's also a time when we honor and we're so proud.
I mean, Remembrance Day has always been a pretty important holiday for me. I've had a few family members that have served in the military, and I've always had respect for the people that served. I've always loved learning about the history of our country and what the impact of them was in the war, stuff like that. It means a lot. It feels like I'm paying my dues to everyone's sacrifices, and it just feels like I'm doing my part to help remember.
You know, it's always important to remember, because if you don't remember, then you can let it happen again. And we have a lot of veterans here, and we have so much to be thankful for what they have done in the past, and we still have people who are out doing peacekeeping missions and helping here and helping there and doing whatever they can. And it's, you know, it's very, very important that we recognize that.
Well, that brings us to the end of this 30-minute edition of Here and Now, marking Remembrance Day. Stay tuned for a special encore presentation of Land and Sea. We'll be back to an hour-long show tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching and spending part of your evening with us. Good night.